Its features. There aren't any. British cars of this era don't really have much going on with them. If you're one of these people who like your air conditioning, remote central locking, electric windows, electric seats, ABS, Bluetooth, entertainment system, all that kind of stuff, you're going to be a bit, you know, a bit put off maybe. British cars of this era, unless you're paying big money, don't really have much going on with them. Now, for someone like me, that's absolutely fine, because I really don't care. I don't use all the mod cons in cars, all the Bluetooth and all those things. It doesn't bother me. Not having remote central locking doesn't bother me. I don't lock the doors anyway. I've never got the roof up, so it makes no sense to have locking doors. So lots of those things I don't use anyway. So me personally, doesn't bother me at all. But again, it might bother some people. If you're used to all those mod cons and conveniences, you know, it could put you off because you're not going to get any of it. They are as basic as they come. It doesn't even have a radio.
And then of course we have the actual physical size itself. Now obviously it's a two-seater convertible, so you're not expecting to be hauling 2x4 around in it, or 50 shopping bags, or 12 kids. You know, that's clearly not going to happen, and you wouldn't be looking at this car in the first place if that was your intention. You know, you'd get something obviously bigger, but it is still something to be aware of. British cars of this era are quite narrow. They are literally 4.5 feet from mirror to mirror, so you know they are small, which makes it very, you know, very nippy and easy to get around. They're 12.5 feet front to back, so they're not that much smaller than an everyday modern car. My silver car behind there is parked in the hedge a little bit, and it's only a foot longer, and that's a 7-seater. So you know, it's a similar length. Seat width is about 18 inches. Now that is smaller than most modern cars. If you're a bit of a chunky monkey, then it might not suit. As I said before, if you're looking at this car in the first place, then you obviously know that it's a small car, so you need to be a bit conscious of your own size. That being said, you know, I'm 6'1", 220 pounds, and I fit in it just fine, no problem at all, even with someone in the seat next to me.
Then lastly we have the actual cost itself. So whilst the term classic car conjures up images of, you know, 15, 20, 30,000 pounds, dollar, beautiful machines, the Triumph Spitfire still sits in one of the lower categories in terms of classic car costs. You can pick up a half decent running, driving, road ready Spit for 3 to 6 grand UK. So, you know, whilst you could get quite a nice modern everyday car for that same sort of money, second-hand one, that's not too bad really in terms of classic car ownership. That's quite a good entry-level price tag. Of course, you can pick them up cheaper than that. If you're willing to get your hands dirty and do a restoration project such as what I've done here, you can pick up a car for less than £1,000, you know, and do the work yourself if you're willing and able to do so, and therefore get yourself a nice car for half the money you pay for a good one. Don't get me wrong, a good top-end, freshly restored Spit is going to cost you anywhere from 10 to 15,000, and you know, rightly so, because someone's put a lot of time, effort and money into getting it to that state. But you don't have to. Classic cars, of course, are an investment in the future. Some people put their money in a bank, some people buy shares, some people put it in crypto, or paintings on the wall, architecture, houses, whatever else it is. People like to make investments, and classic cars only ever appreciate in value. They're only ever going to get more and more expensive. Bad news if you want to buy one, good news if you already own one. So if you think about it along those lines, actually having a daily driving car that you're willing to look after that's actually going to go up in value, as opposed to going and buying, say, a brand new car off the forecourt that's going to depreciate the second you drive it away, and it's potentially going to lose money every year as you put more and more miles onto it, that starts to balance it a little bit, because you'll always get your money back on a classic. Any money you spent on it, you'll get your money back and more. Now, I appreciate that a lot of what I've just said could be construed as overly pessimistic. There's no refinements in the car at all. Everything's purely mechanical and there isn't much of it. They're small, they're not very good for families, they can be expensive to buy or restore. But there's also a lot of positives that obviously go with having a classic such as a Spit. So let's just very, very quickly look at those positives. So I said before about the size of the car. It's a small car. Clearly, it's a two-seater roadster. That's also a plus. That's not necessarily a negative. When you put in the context of if you've got kids, if you want to haul stuff around with you, you're not going to get it in the car. No, clearly not. But who the hell buys a car like this for that? No one. Most of the traffic on the roads nowadays are these big SUV, crossover type vehicles. So it's actually nice to have a small car. This little thing can whiz around in traffic. If you've got a tight spot on the road, you can put yours over to the other side of the road very, very easily. Parking spaces other people will leave because they can't get into, you can plant it straight in there. And you've got to open the doors, you can just hop over the top. Miami Vice style. So the size is also a positive. It's cute, isn't it? Small cars, they're seen as cute. Now, that doesn't make you cute sitting in it. Clearly I'm, not cute. But the car is. So whilst size could be construed as an issue, I think it's quite cool. Again, I said lack of refinements in a vehicle. Your Bluetooth, your ABS, blah 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 blah, all the stuff you get in modern cars. You don't get any of it in a Spit. In my opinion, that's good. As I said before, I don't want it. It's all more stuff to go wrong. It's all electro, digital, trickery, ECUs, black boxes, relays and wiring that I don't want. If something is wrong with a car like this, it won't start, it stops on the side of the road, there will normally be, other than like a blown up engine or something, very catastrophic, which should be quite apparent, i.e. there'll be oil and bits of metal all over the road. If it just won't start, there'll be a reason for that. Points, coil, something like that. There isn't really much to go wrong in these cars, and you can service them yourself. Because all the things in them are largely mechanical, they're all things you can stick a spanner on and change out. Alternator's gone, no problem at all, buy a new one. Coil's gone, points, plugs, whatever it is, any of the ignition parts, that's gone, no problem at all. Take it out, stick a new one in. Belt goes, oh well, stick a new belt on. These are all 10-minute jobs at the side of the road, by and large. Modern car stops at the side of the road, pick up the phone. Call the AA man. You've had it. How are you going to diagnose a modern car at the side of the road? Flip the bonnet, plastic tray. You probably haven't even got the tools to take the plastic tray off to actually see the engine. So flat tyre, fine. Anything else wrong with the engine? No good. So the fact that it doesn't have any refinements, to me, is a plus. It's all less stuff to go wrong. And the biggest plus for me, well, look at it. No, I don't care what you say. That's a good looking car. And yeah, I know I'm biased because it's mine. But I'm allowed to be. If you have a choice of driving a car that looks like this every day, or a car that looks like this, i.e. every other modern car ever, it's not a bad looking car. It's not a good looking car though, is it? That, or that. That, or that. It's a no-brainer for me, guys. So to summarise, it's not a perfect car, not by any stretch. There's better cars out there, much better cars. Can you afford one of those better cars? Some can, some can't. I can. So I've got one of these. So you can have a nice looking classic car on a budget. Not only that, you can run it on a budget. They don't cost any more to run than a modern car. In my opinion, probably less. There's some rules in the UK around tax and that sort of thing, which makes classic cars, i.e. anything over 40 years, exempt from paying tax. So there's some pluses there. And as I said before, it's a good looking car. Why wouldn't you want to drive a good looking car? Yeah, like I say, there are some, issues with British cars. Rust. Availability of parts if you live on the other side of the pond is probably not quite as easy as it is to get them as you do when you live over here. Same way for us, if we ever want to get any parts for American import cars, thank God for Rock Auto, that's all I'm saying. So, not perfect by any stretch, but not far off either. One more thing, guys, I completely forgot to say in my video. I'm just doing the edit for it now, and it just struck me that I've forgotten probably the most important positive of owning a Spitfire, and I can't believe I forgot, but there we go, not perfect. And that is, it's fun. They are a fun car to drive. Modern cars take all the effort out of driving from you. You just point in the direction you want to go and the car will pretty much do the rest for you. Old cars require a bit more actual hands-on driving. You feel all the bumps in the road, there's no power steering, they don't come with power brakes as standard. So there's a bit more going on with them. You've got to choke, all the old stuff that you associate with classic cars. And that's fun. Some people don't like that, and I totally get that. But there are a lot of people who do like that. They want to drive for fun. I stopped driving for fun years ago because driving just became a ball ache. It became something, just a means to an end, getting me to work and back every day. And I started hating driving. I get annoyed all the time, getting stopped at lights or stuck behind someone. And driving just became stressful. Since I've had this car, I've actually started driving for fun. I'll take it out on the weekend, jump in it with the wife, and just go for a drive. Not going anywhere, no purpose to it whatsoever. Just purely, it's a sunny day, let's take the car out and go for a drive and whiz it around in the lanes a little bit. Take it out on the B roads. It's a B road car. But that is probably the most important thing. It's fun. It brings driving back into that fun threshold again. So if you've got to the point like me where you just got annoyed and tired with driving and it just became an inconvenience, that's a huge, huge selling point for getting yourself a little fun car like this. Put the fun back into driving again. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you very much. See you soon.